What's good, y'all? It's Black Horseman. Shout out to the UGC and True Media. That's everyone that keeps it 100, stand true to who they are, and doing their part in this media. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit that bell icon so that you'll be notified when I upload content and when I do the live streams. At the conclusion of the video, if you like the content, smash the like button and leave a comment below. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.
Yo, good morning. Hey man, I want to talk about this particular topic because in light of the Barry Hearn comments that was made yesterday, the press conference in front of Dylan White, in front of the media, all of that stuff, people in their feelings and people was outraged, right? But let's just talk about what's really real when it comes to these athletes, man, and we come to just life in general, man. A lot of these people are slaves to something, okay? But you know what? You got rich slaves and you got poor slaves. And in light of what this guy has said, Barry Hearn, you got the race baiters that's really just focusing on the racial aspect of it instead of what was really real. You know, that's just how the nature of the business is, in particularly this sport of boxing. A lot of these guys, it's like a slave type situation where you under a certain contract, no different from when you're talking about basketball, when you're talking about football, right? These guys are like under slave contracts, you know. We remember when LeBron James was playing in Cleveland. Then he had to play in Cleveland for so many years, right? And then, you know, they made as much money they could make off of him, right? It's business, okay? This is how they make their business. Whereas Dylan White, they don't have him unlocked into a long-term contract, so it's changed to where they have more liberty. So, you know, the ones that got their agendas, man, they're going to make this as just all about race. Whereas there's even situations where black promoters have had fighters under slave contracts, man. Where it's a long-term contract, you locked in that contract, you don't have no freedom to go fight and make somebody else more money or go to another network and make more money, right? If that's the case, if you guys want to really get that deep, let's get this racial aspect out of it and just look at it. Like, you got certain fighters, right? Let's say PBC fighters. They cannot, or certain ones that are not allowed to go make no money on no other network because that don't benefit Al Heyman. You can low-key say that that's a slave contract because you are obligated to fight on Fox, PBC, Showtime. Don't we hear Errol Spence say that? I don't fight on ESPN. Well, if you was a free man, you would fight wherever you want to fight, right? So that's a slave situation right there, you know? Now, the difference is everybody's going to be a slave to someone. When you go to a job every day, okay, you are a slave to that situation or that job. You got to follow their rules. For that amount of time that you're there, you got to clock in at that time and do what you must do. Conduct your duties for the day so that you can get your pay, right? So just because there's a white man saying this, right? Because Al Heyman is not going to come out and say this. Of course, this dude don't even want to face the media. You know, we don't hardly know what this dude looked like. We got to dig up some old ass pictures. But because a white man said it next to a black guy, everybody's going to magnify this and say, oh man, this is the most worst thing in the world for a guy to say, when it's just really the truth, man. Like, all of these guys, even black promoters, were slave traders, if you will. But it's just not a good look coming from Barry Hearn. Like, only thing you did was get the race baiters, you know, fuel, ammunition. So that's, hey, Barry Hearn, thank you for giving all of these guys, especially with these racial agendas, content. Because, you know, this is content for them to run with. But when you look at the full aspect of it and break it really down, all of these guys is under a slave type situation. You either slave to a network, slave to a promoter. But a lot of people might turn this and say, see, this is why nobody should fight for Barry Hearn or Eddie Hearn, right? This is my response to that. Joshua might be under a slave contract, right? Which he probably is, right? Where he's obligated to fight under the, under the restraints and rules and regulations of Barry Hearn, Eddie Hearn, DAZN, Matchroom, whatever, right? But he's making more money than all of these guys that I'm seeing who might be under Al Heyman, right? This is just a fact. So all of these guys are slaves, okay? All of these guys are restricted to one side of a street or a network, or some type of a deal that they're under. But who's making the most money? Okay, is these guys happy slaves, or are they unhappy slaves? I don't hear AJ over there complaining. With getting $15-20 million a fight, whereas you got dumb slaves turning down lifetime paydays, life-changing paydays. So when you look at it, man, all the sports in this professional level is slave trading, okay? At some level or not, or some level or another. It's all slave trading. It's just the race baiters, the ones that really hate DAZN or hate Hearn and all of this stuff, even if he is a racist, at the end of the day, the only color that matters is green. So let's just deal with the real shit. Guys is gonna chop it up and make it about strictly race when he said nothing about race. He was talking about slave trading. Slave can fall into any category of a white boy, a Mexican, black, whatever, right? Ethiopian, Filipino, anything. So there's a lot of guys, man, that's under a slave type of contract, but they put themselves in that position because they trying to get paid. A lot of times, if you want to make that kind of money, you got to be under a slave type of contract. I just gave y'all the analogy between what they do in basketball. Is LeBron complaining? Is what you call it? Ben Simmons complaining? Is Russell Westbrook complaining? People say, oh, well, he re-signed with this guy. Well, don't these guys re-sign these contracts with these guys, with these franchises? Because they're getting paid. They want to live that good life. Buy whatever they want to buy. But they still got to clock in every day. Still got to get on that court and represent that team. Just like AJ or Dillian White, whoever side that he's getting paid by, you still got to get in that ring and represent for that side that's paying you. That's all that shit really is. So I'll let the race baiters deal with the racial aspect of it, and I'm gonna deal with the real aspect of it. All of these niggas are slaves. I don't care if it's a black dude, Mexican dude, Jewish dude, white dude, whatever. Okay? All of these guys is slaves to somebody. They gotta do what they told, they gotta show up at press conferences, they gotta fight on this network, and they're gonna get paid. So a lot of them is happy slaves. But the difference is some of them is richer than others. You got rich slaves and poor slaves, So a lot of you guys is defending the poor slaves.